Welcome back. This is Jake Ballantyne with Mountaintop Motivation, and we are going into phase one of the number one goal system for success. And of course, phase one is motivate. Now, like I was talking about in the previous video, in our overview video, we're talking about this true definition of the word motivate. Motivation, it's not about excitement, it's not about feeling it, and those things are all great. If I say it in that way, not to put those things down because those things can really help you, but they do not last. What lasts is having a reason that's strong enough that's going to compel you to get there. What lasts is having the fuel inside of you that's going to help you get there no matter what. If you have a reason that's strong enough, you can do anything. Anything that comes your way, anything that you want to do, you can achieve it if you have a reason that is strong enough. That's what motivation really is. Now let's talk about an example. You might be saying, well, it doesn't matter reasons versus excuses. That doesn't matter. Well, I'll tell you what. Here's an example that I think is really easy to understand. You might say, I just can't go running early in the morning. In fact, the only time I could go running would be 5 in the morning, and I'm not a morning person. I cannot do it. I physically cannot go running at 5 in the morning. I'd say it still is a reasons versus excuses problem. Because if tomorrow morning at 5 in the morning your house looked like this, well, you would get up and start running. If there was a fire in your house at 5 in the morning, you would get up and start running. Why? Because you had a very compelling reason. You had a burning reason, a burning desire to get up and go running. See, the point is that you are running. It's 5 in the morning, and you're running. You're up, you're moving, you're doing it. And see, the difference there is that you had a reason strong enough to get up and go. I'm not saying that the answer to turning your goals into your reality is arson, but I am saying that just proves the point, that it's always about reasons versus excuses, and yes, it really is that simple. If you can get it down to reasons versus excuses and have a reason that's compelling enough, that's going to help you get there. Now, we want a lot of reasons. We want a bunch of reasons so that when one of those reasons doesn't matter to you very much that day, well, you're gonna fall back on this reason, or you're gonna fall back on that reason. So like I said earlier, there are 3 different phases of the motivate section: commitment, community, and clarity. So let's start with the first one and go into commitment. Commitment to what? We're committing to a mountaintop mindset. And a mountaintop mindset says, I will make it on top. I will make it to the top. I will be there. That's using that celebrate segment, using that celebrate phase about positive affirmations and visualization and saying, I will make it. And why is it so important to believe that you'll make it? Because when you have that mountaintop mindset, when you believe that you're going to make it, you're going to keep moving. You're going to keep doing it. And if you don't believe that you're going to make it, your mind, your subconscious mind will say, well, it's not worth it for me to do it because I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to make it, so why am I doing this? But we got to have that mindset of I'm going to get there, I'm going to be there, I'm going to make it to the top, because if you have that mindset, you will be willing to do what it takes to make it to the top. And notice we're talking about this even before we talk about clarity, because we got to have that mindset of I can, I will, even before we can allow ourselves to think about what we actually want. The second part of having a mountaintop mindset is focusing on the good. See, what's wrong is always available, but so is what's right. So many of us are looking for what's wrong with the world instead of looking for what's right. Because yeah, there's problems. I'm not saying that the whole world is rainbows and unicorns, but I am saying that there's so much good in the world if we choose to see it. And sometimes the good news is something as simple as, you know what? There's a problem, but the good news is I have the ability to fix it. We're going to focus on the things that you can actually control. Focusing on the good is there are things that I can control. There's a lot of things that I can't. In fact, you cannot control the event that's going on in your life. You might say, well, I caused that event. Sure, maybe the old you, the person, the version of you in the past, did have control over that event, or at least had influence over that event. But at this point, you have no more influence over the event. You have zero control over an event that already happened. Now, we also don't have control over the outcome of that event. And most people just see the outcome as, well, the event happened, and here's the outcome. But the good news is that there's something in between. And the good news is that we have 100% control over how we respond. We have 100% control over how we respond to anything that comes our way, any event that comes our way. And really when it comes down to it, our outcome is our event plus our response equals our outcome. So you don't have control of the event, but you do have control over your response. And if we add your event plus your response, that's what equals your outcome. And you have so much influence over that outcome. So a mountaintop mindset is having the mindset of, I'm going to focus on the good. And there's so much good in the world. There's so much good to appreciate. There's so much good everywhere. And whatever you're looking for, you're going to find. If you're looking for the good, you're going to find more of it. But really, when it comes down to it, the mountaintop mindset, focusing on the good, comes down to this simple principle. Focus on how you respond to a situation instead of just what the event is. Because you cannot control the event, but you have absolute control over that response. And therefore, you have so much influence over the outcome that is going to come to you. So the mountaintop mindset is an I will attitude and a focus on the good life. Secondly, we're going to get into is community. You got to make sure that you're building a success team around you. You got to have that team around you. You know, just like Michael Jordan says, he says here in our workbook, he says, talent wins games, but teams win championships. So you got to build that success team around you. So many of us have heard the quote that we are the combination of the 5 people that we spend the most time with. So I want you to think about, who are the people that I'm spending my most time with? Who are the people that I'm hanging out with that are influencing me on a daily basis? Who are those people? Well, we need to have a success team around us. Now, some of you might be in a team already. Maybe you're in a team at work. Maybe you're in a team with an organization that you're a part of. Maybe you run a team. Well, it's time for us to take an evaluation with those people. And you're not just going to kick those people out. It's how can you get all of them on board with that mountaintop mindset? How can you get all of them on board with that mountaintop mindset so together you can grow? Because I believe that a rising tide lifts all boats. So if somebody comes better, then we can become better as well. So we can work together to become better. But you are the combination of the 5 people you spend your most time with. So either choose those people well or do whatever it takes to be able to help the people around you to elevate their way of thinking. Because if they can elevate their way of thinking, then everything can change in front of us. Because everything is created here before it's created out there. Everything that's going on, it's created here before it's going on out there. And if you have a bunch of people that are around you all the time with a negative mindset, always looking for the problems. When I said, focus on the good, that's a solution mindset. You're looking for solutions instead of just for problems. But there's some people who have a problem for every solution. And we don't want that. We want to be around the people that have solutions for every problem. So we want to surround ourselves with the people who have that mountaintop mindset. So here's what we're going to do. I want you to go through this workbook. You should have a printable PDF there. I want you to go through this, and I want you to say, who are the 5 people in your life that you want on your success team? Who are the 5 people in your life that you want on your success team? So you can pause this video after I finish these 3 questions, but who are the people that you want on that success team? Who are the 5 people? Write down 5 people. Maybe they're in your organization. Maybe you're a solo entrepreneur and you're just saying, well, I need more people around me. Maybe you need to go and join a mastermind or go and be a part of something where you can bring people together. Or maybe you're a stay-home mom who has a goal that you're working towards and you say, you know what, I need to make sure that I'm organizing things that I can be around people that are with that positive mountaintop mindset. So who are those 5 people that you already know right now that you want to be on your success team? The next 2 questions, number 1 is how can they support you? So you're going to write, well, what kind of support do you want? What kind of support do you want from them? But then most importantly, how can you support them? How can you support them? We don't think about that. We always think about, what can I get from the situation? What can I get from it? And that's great. You want to get from it, but I can tell you the more that you give, the more that you're going to get. The more that you give to your success team, the more that you're going to get from it. So we need to be focusing on, how can you support these people? How can you serve these people? How can you help them so that they're going to actually say, well, I want to help you. I want to help you more. So how can you serve those people? How can you help those people? So I want you to push pause right now, and do that exercise. Don't wait, do it right now. Push pause and do the exercise. Okay, if you're back, I'm guessing that you did push pause. Please actually push pause and do the exercise, unlike so many people who just let it play. So push pause and do this exercise right now. Even if you're driving in your car and just listening to this, just still push pause and just do it in your head. Who are the 5 people that you want on your success team? How can they support you? And then secondly, how can you support them? Okay, let's go into number 3, which is clarity. Clarity on what? Clarity on what you want and why you want it. And if you have clarity on those 2 things, everything becomes easier because you have a North Star of this is where I'm going. This is where I'm going, and everything goes towards there. We talked about that recalibration phase. We'll talk about that in phase 3, but it's hard to recalibrate if you don't know where you're going. It's hard to initiate and take action if you don't know where you're going. But if you have a mountaintop, if you have a peak that you're working towards, you can say, well, that's where I'm going. So even if I lose the trail, I still know the direction that I'm going. Whenever I go out on a hike, I always think about, well, okay, what could I do if I got lost? Well, I might not know where I'm going. I might not know the terrain, but here's this river. Here's this river, and luckily you can hear rivers all over the place. I go, well, I can follow the river back to here because this is where the river goes. So even if I get lost, I can do that. I always like to think about that so that I know where I'm going and I know directionally. And same thing with your goals. If you're clear on what you want, if you have clarity on what you want and why you want it, it's so much easier for you to get there. Some of you might be asking, well, how do I decide what my number 1 goal is? So that's what we're going to do right here in this program is get into what your number 1 goal is and figure out a way to say, okay, this is my main focus. Now, this is the fundamentals video series. So this is not very long, where some of our trainings, we go very, very deep into this. So if this is something you want to go deeper into, come and join our 30-day number 1 goal challenge or come to one of our live events or some other program that we're running. But right now, let's get into this. So what I want you to do first is I want you to write down what is your mountaintop life. What that means is your ultimate vision. And you might be doing this for your team or organization, your company, whatever that is. So it's either your mountaintop life or your mountaintop company or your mountaintop family or whatever you're doing this for. Write out the ultimate vision for this. And I like to look at this in about 3 to 5 years. So we're not talking about 10 and 20 years from now. We're talking about 3 to 5 years. What is your vision for this? Or I call this the mountaintop. What is the vision for your life? What is the vision for your company? What is the vision that you have that you want to turn into your reality? So first I want you to do that. So push pause right now and start writing that out right now. Okay, now that you're done with that, we're going to do this for 1 year. What is your vision for 1 year from now? And I want you to break this down into 4 goals. What are your 4 goals for this coming year? And when I say this year, I don't mean the rest of this calendar year, whatever year you're in. I'm talking about the next 12 months. So for the next 12 months, what are 4 goals? And these 4 goals, when we talk about this being a mountaintop, everything should be in alignment. Everything should be going towards it. So these 4 goals, you achieving these 4 goals, should be milestones on the path to that mountaintop that you have set for over the next 3 to 5 years. So push pause, take the time right now to write out your 4 goals for the next 12 months. Now what you're going to do is you're going to circle one of these. You're going to circle one of these, and the way that you're going to choose this is you are going to circle the one that you know that if you achieve that, the other 4 goals become easier. The other 4 goals become easier. If you achieve that goal, the other 4 goals will become easier. Circle that one, and you're going to create a 90-day version of that goal. What is something within that goal that you can create, that you can do, that you can achieve within the next 90 days? And that is the goal that you're going to focus on as your top priority over the next 90 days. That doesn't mean that you're not going to focus on the other goals. It doesn't mean you're not going to do work on the other goals, but this is going to be your top priority, is this number 1 goal. So write out whichever one you want to focus on. You got those 4 goals and say, okay, I'm going to focus on one of them. Which is the one that you're going to focus on, the one that is a domino goal, the one that makes every other goal easier. What is that number one goal? And write out a 90-day version for that goal. Now that you've done that, I want you to write out why this goal, this number one goal, is important to you and why it's important to you to reach it over the next 90 days. Why does this goal matter? Why is it important? Why is this something that is important to you? Remember, if your reasons are greater than your excuses, you can do anything. But if your excuses are stronger than your reasons, you do not stand a chance. So focus on the reasons over the excuses. So what are the reasons? Why does this matter to you? The stronger and the more reasons you have, the stronger they are, the better they're going to be. So we're going to end this video right now, and you're going to take the time to write that out. So maybe you didn't take all the time to write out all of these questions yet. Take the time to do that before you go on to the next segment. Take the time to do that before you go on to the next segment, but make sure you're doing this right now. Don't move on to something else. Do this right now so that you have the ultimate vision for the next 3 to 5 years. You have your top 4 goals for the next year. You have the number one goal for the next 90 days, and you have written down why this number one goal is important to you. So take the time to do that right now. I'll see you in the next video. This is Jake Ballantyne with Mountaintop Motivation, and I will see you at the top.